Wait, hold on. So, um, I don't know if this is happening right. I'm gonna play some music. Give y'all see if one or two people gonna come on because I really don't want to be on the live forever because tonight I have a date with myself. Have a dilation date, baby. Got to dilate this coach tonight. Stop, begin, up, down, lose, win, enemy, friend. Then it happens all over again. So move with self-control and discipline because life is a roller coaster. Be ready for the game. Yeah. Seasons change, but something stay the same. Still rooted like a tree. Fake friends fall like leaves. Mama coming through with the machete for the weeds. Get the ground ready, cause you know we planting seeds. Let me tell you about the birds and the bees. This that love story, that struggle story. This titty heavier than this one. I gotta pull that one up a little bit. That titty heavy. That titty heavy. That titty heavier than that one. This titty be like that. That titty heavy. One diet, no season, still fasting, no weaving. But today I'm weak cause I don't even really like to play the game. To live is evil, spell backwards, let a killer named Fame. We sinned and missed our aim, got so high I was low. Lift the had me moving slow, hollow like a chocolate Easter bunny with no soul. Tasty crash dummy, getting money. Reaching through a hole in the wall to snatch dreams. Put you on the team, now you the cog in the machine. Black lightning keeps the whiteness supreme. Cause once the black is lightened, then they both the same thing. I ride the bench for the new tribe. The whole ones that got nothing to hide. We dark as the bottom of the sea. Still connected to this water. I just boat in my teeth. They gon' show us how to thrive. Problem solving, life is a roller. Playing catfish with fake dicks. Running trends like a dirty flick. Be ready for the game. I'ma look behind this curtain and see life path numbers 4 and 3. Going on 8 shaped like infinity, cause I'm infinitely tapping into my divinity like a trinity, both physically and spiritually. Nothing can hinder this. I am the genderless offspring of it all. Remove us and the whole thing falls and starts again. That's gravity, my thought we wasn't there, but we was there too. See you in a minute, cause we about to come through. Smoke the night, there's nothing and everything. The scene and the hitting, clock and secret ties don't fall for the division. Cosmic balance be the intention. About to cut in and make this incision. We ain't afraid of some friction. Opening portals to new dimensions. Critical thinking, we use it when we making these decisions. Ow! Life is a roller. Yay! Life is a roller coaster. Be ready for the game. So, I am sipping a little bit. I got a little Cavassier and green tea in this cup. So this is going to be a serious topic, but I'm not going to be serious while I'm discussing the topic. But, I have put a lot of thought into it, so it's not like I'm just, getting tipsy and having this topic discussion all willy-nilly. I've been pondering this topic for about 24 hours. Even though I think that this is kind of like an ongoing conversation for me, like I've been focusing on it all day. I watched The Shawshank Redemption. I started watching that last night. And then I watched Life after I watched The Shawshank Redemption. And I felt like those were good movies to watch to have this conversation about male privilege, about passing privilege, and about white privilege. I want to dig into Biscuit's character from Life. If I forget, somebody remind me. I don't know if there's anybody on here that can remind me yet, but because I do want to dig into Biscuit. At one time, I wouldn't have talked about Biscuit because I would have been too busy trying to pretend that there was no correlation between me and Biscuit. Like me and Biscuit ain't got nothing in common. I'm a woman. Biscuit is a punk. Biscuit is a gay man. Biscuit is a prison punk. I don't have no connection with Biscuit, but that is not the truth. So there is some correlations with me and Biscuit, and I want to talk about the correlations between me and Biscuit from Life. But anyway, white privilege, male privilege, and passing privilege. Now, when I think about white privilege, and what makes me think about white privilege, I love the conversation that's going on Power, right? Well, not Power, the second book that talks about the sun ghost. And at school, they're really diving into this conversation around the conversation and the dialogue in Power really just shows you how much this is about patriarchy. Like Method Man's character, the lawyer, he really just kind of like make it plain, like the young child Ghost's son. Well, I think his name is Tyreek. Tyreek comes in and Tyreek is telling him, you can't trust him, and he's not doing this for his best interest. And he look at Tyreek and tell Tyreek, I'm not doing this for my best interest either. I'm trying to get money out of this. Like they show you in Ghost, if you pay attention, how race is a factor, but a lot of times white people or Caucasian people are the biggest pawns in this game. Like a lot of times privilege makes you a pawn. Like in order to have privilege, in order to be able to really take advantage of privilege, you have to give pawn aesthetic. And pawn is basically, for me, when I think of a pawn, it's nothing really special about you. You don't really stand out in any way, and you're totally fitting into this idea of what people think you are. So like a pawn, you can have privilege, but at the same time, that privilege means that you have to fit this pawn aesthetic. So I feel like when it comes to passing privilege, one has to sincerely be a pawn in either of those categories. Like if you're like for example, if you are a black man, in order for you to get male privilege, you have to fit the aesthetic of what society says a man is. You have to be this idea of what it means to be a man. You have to stick with that, and you can't delineate from that in order to get male privilege. So male privilege comes with you fitting the aesthetic of what it means to be a man. Passing privilege, depending on what you're passing for, because you could be male passing for a woman, you could be female passing for a man, or you could be a person passing for white. So with that being said, in order for you to receive any privilege privileges, you have to fit into the idea of what not what it actually is. You have to fit into the idea of this privilege that you're seeking. So you have to be an ideal white woman in order to get a white woman's privilege. So say like if you was a black woman passing for a white woman, then you have to represent the idea of what a white woman is in order to get passing privilege. You can't just be what you think a white woman is. You have to be what the idea, you have to blend into this idea. And so when you blend into the idea, you become a pawn. Um, being a trans woman, if you want passing privilege as a woman, you have to blend into society's idea of what a woman is. And so you become a pawn because now you're blending into this idea, and that can also make you more vulnerable because now you're blending into the idea. So then you become a pawn. So with all of these privileges, with all of these perceivable privileges, there is the possibility of becoming a pawn. There's a possibility of losing certain freedoms, losing this ability to be able to maneuver in a way that's more freeing, in a way that's more authentic, because now you're role playing. You've become you've been assigned this role. Going back to Biscuit's character in life, Biscuit didn't want to go home because Biscuit felt like he had lost his male privilege. Biscuit had come to terms, like Biscuit was the closest thing to a female in prison. Hey, Sanaya. Biscuit was the closest thing to a female in prison, and Biscuit was ashamed, and Biscuit felt like he lost his male privilege. Biscuit felt like they were less than. Biscuit felt like it's been so long since I've been there, since I felt like that. Like that was a long time ago, because I think I could relate to Biscuit 30 years ago. Like I think 33 years ago, I could have related to Biscuit. I'm not gonna say that I've never felt Biscuit's feelings in life, but it was literally a lifetime ago that I felt like Biscuit. Biscuit felt, and everybody felt that pain. Like Biscuit couldn't go home because Biscuit, hey spiritual newspaper, Biscuit couldn't go home because Biscuit was living as a woman in jail. And Biscuit couldn't go home to his mother or their mother because during that time, it's 1945, the world had changed, but the world had not changed for queer people and queer people of color in particularly. So Biscuit would have rather died than went home to face his mother, and that speaks to the weight of male privilege. Like Biscuit's character from life speaks to the weight of male privilege. And I think that a lot of white people can relate to Biscuit in a different way. I think that a lot of, as a trans person, I can relate to Biscuit, well, I mean, I can't pass for white, so, I can't really relate to Biscuit on that level. But I think everyone who's trying to pass for something, we can all relate to Biscuit. And someone left a comment in the comment section. And I'm gonna come back to this because I'm still on Biscuit. Biscuit is the character from Life who was like a woman in jail, or who was, playing the role of a woman in jail. Um, but when Biscuit got ready to go home, Biscuit, wanted to die as a man, so to speak. So there's this moment where Biscuit takes off the head wrap and Biscuit starts running so that Biscuit can get shot, so that Biscuit doesn't have to go home and shame his family. Now, there's somebody called the multi-thinker who commented. That was me in my early 20s. Okay. There's somebody called the multi-thinker who commented up under commented up under one of my videos, and he was like, my he was like, your ancestors are dead. And I responded back in the comment section, and I was like, that's subjective, that's not an absolute. But this guy, I'm still on Biscuit. But this guy, the multi-thinker, left another comment, like left a bunch of comments under my video, and was talking about the video that I did about the woke sex change versus the sleep sex change, was talking about how I was sexualizing everything when I talked about how some of these men are spiritual dick riders. When I say a spiritual dick rider, I'm not sexualizing it, but I'm using sexual conversation to explain what I'm saying. Okay, I'm using that type of language so it can be plain to people, because we live in a reality that sexualizes everything. That's why we have so many young celebrities and young stars, because quiet as kept, a lot of people are lusting off of these little young children, and lusting off of, these little 21-year-olds and these little 20-year-olds. Like, we live in a society that lust off people and sexualize everything. So when I say some men are spiritual dick riders, when I say, some gay men are spiritual pussy eaters, I'm not sexualizing it. Hey, baby, I'm not, oh, that's Bernicia. I'm not sexualizing everything. I'm just saying, that that's the society we live in. That's the culture we live in, where everybody sexualize everything. So, if you are a man who worships penis, verbally, you may not have never physically had sex with a man, but if you always praising him and you always got his name on your lips and you're always giving him props and you're always talking about him, then to me, that's a spiritual dick rider. You could say it how you want to say, hey, Nova. You can say it however you want to say it. If you always worshiping a man and you're always talking about a man, you can be heterosexual, but to me, you're still a dick rider. Dick rider, dick rider, dick rider, dick rider. You're a dick rider. Like, and this brings me back to the Shawshank Redemption. Because I swear there was a homosexual relationship going on between Andy Dufresne's character, the white guy who was wrongfully arrested, and Morgan Freeman. Like, I just feel like there was a homosexual relationship. There was a serious love affair. And I think because the movie came out in the 90s, they weren't in a place to just really delve into that conversation. Although I think we had movies like that before, because if I'm not mistaken, we had, but it seemed like when movies about gay people came out back in the day, they were always killing them off. The gay people always had some type of disease. Like, it was a sad situation. Somebody was dying of AIDS. So when they told movies about gay people over 20 years ago, you could be sure that AIDS was somewhere around. Like, we was telling the story, but we're going to kill them off. It's not going to be a happy ending. It's going to be sad. There's going to be AIDS for everyone. We're killing them off. We're going to tell the story. We're going to have some happy and sad moments. But ultimately, we're killing them off in here. So I just feel like Shawshank Redemption, if they would have admitted that it was a love affair, then it would have taken away, unfortunately, from the integrity of the film for people in mainstream. Yeah. I mean, like, because I watched it again today, and Morgan Freeman and Andy, like, their connection to each other was so strong. I just don't believe it was possible for them not to cross the line, having done 40 years in confinement around each other. I mean, they literally had done nearly 40 years together around each other. I find it hard to believe that there was never, they never crossed the line. And then when he told him to come and meet him, he told him to come and meet him under a tree where he made love to his wife and asked his wife to marry him. Like, why would you tell him to meet you somewhere where you had sex with your wife? You know what I'm saying? Where you asked your wife to marry her and you had sex with her, and you want him to meet you at this tree. Not to mention, we know what the tree represents, right? We know what the tree represents, right? We know what the tree stands for, right? a big old tree. Like, come on here. Then at the end, when he meets him, there's no woman waiting with Andy Dufresne's character. It's only him waiting for Morgan, and they give each other a hug and it goes off. So I just felt like they weren't in a space to talk about what it was really about at that time. Or they bashed you from society. So yeah. So like, it wasn't, the stories were told back then. Like, we had The Crying Game, we had Pelican's Brief, we had 6 Degrees. Was that one of them? And all of these were tragic. Like, they told queer stories, Soldier's Boy. They told you stories, but they were tragic. They didn't tell queer stories that were happy stories unless it was a queer pretending to be cis. Like when RuPaul played in the Brady Bunch. It was queer person pretending to be a cis person. So queer people were safe. I think like Tu Wong Fu was probably the first one we got that had a happy ending, but they took the male archetype and basically turned them into caricatures. So that was just kind of like modern day blackface to a certain degree, because it was like mammarizing or making a mammy out of the whole feminine construct. So like there was a malicious intent behind that piece too. The Green Mile was a tad big homoerotic. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch The Green Mile again. Yeah, they mammified the girls in 214. Yes. You get me. They mammified the girls in 214. So I feel like every time, they tell these stories about queer people in the past, it was always like this woe is me, or it was to make a joke. So it was either woe is me or it was either a joke, but we never had truly, and that's still happening to this day, because even when Laverne Cox played, and that's her most notable character, when she played, what was the name of her character? Sophia. Was it Sophia that she played in Orange is the New Black? And if you notice, she was the only trans woman. She was the only Black woman in the show representing a black woman that wore a straight wig. The rest of the black women, if you notice, go back and watch Orange is the New Black. All of them wore natural hair. Laverne, the trans woman, was the one that wore the fake wig. Then when she finally wore her natural hair, she was in the shoe looking like an episode of Good Times, sitting there with her natural hair like this. Girl, why they do that girl that? She was sitting in a shoe like this. That's the only time you saw her without a wig on was when she was in the shoe. Like, what's wrong with our natural hair? Like, why did they have to do that? Like all of the black women in the series wore their natural hair, and it was like a proud black woman thing. And it was like saying that the fake woman or the not real woman should wear the wig. And this is how we're going to separate the black trans woman from the biological cis woman or the female. This is how we're going to separate them, by putting on this wig. Because this trans woman needs this wig in order to really pass for a woman. Because she cannot pass without this wig. But who is Laverne seeking? And so it makes you think that Laverne's passing privilege, or the people that Laverne is trying to pass for, is not necessarily black people. Like, it takes on a whole new identity, because who are trans women trying to be passable to? Trans women, are they trying to be passable for white people? Because would Laverne need the wig to be passable to other black people? Or does the wig become important when you're trying to be passable to white people? That's something to think about. So does the wig become an important factor when you're trying to be passable as a woman, or pass for the kind of woman that white people respect? There's so many layers. Passing as the kind of white woman that Caucasian people will take value in. Passing as the kind of white woman that Caucasian people can relate to. Does the wig become a necessary factor in how you advance in a European-dominated society? My God is God today. And so we have not only trans people trying to pass as women, but trying to pass as the type of woman that can thrive in society, which is more connected to this white woman. So so where cis women are just trying to look more Europeanized and be more acceptable, like to a certain degree, cis women are passing. They put the wig on in order to pass as a woman that is accepted in society. So in a way, trans women and cis women can relate, because to a certain degree, both of them are trying to pass as a woman. Like cis women are trying to pass as female, but they're trying to pass as the kind of woman that is accepted in today's society, the kind of woman that is celebrated in today's society. So in order to pass, you must put that wig on. You must have your bundles together. You must be silky wavy like My Little Pony. You must be giving My Little Pony teas. You must be giving My Little Pony teas in order to be socially acceptable. So trans women and cis women are on some passing shit. And then when we dig into the male privilege aspect, going back to Biscuit's character, like I said, Biscuit's character, like I watched Life today, and I finished watching Shawshank Redemption, then I watched Life. And I never really dug into Biscuit's character the last time. Like, and Biscuit is the one who played in Joanna Man. But when Biscuit got ready to go home, like when Biscuit was free and Biscuit was getting ready to go home, it was the same. Like I noticed that Shawshank Redemption and Life, they kind of had like the same, they had a lot of connecting points. Like Biscuit killed himself, the old white man killed himself in Shawshank Redemption because time had left him, time sped up, he couldn't keep up, he didn't know how he was going to survive. And Biscuit, the queer black man, he didn't know how he was going to survive. So both of them ultimately committed suicide in their own way because they didn't fit into the world. They weren't going to be able to fit in the world. Now when I think about how black men are forced to fit into this box, this African guy who I was talking to the other day, and I talked about this in another video, he came over here and he confided in me that he was tired of being a man, that he was tired of, he wants to be more like a woman. And he had been drinking, so, he might have been being funny, but a part of it, I know it was some truth in it. People always feel comfortable coming around beings like ourselves and just letting their hair down and saying whatever in their heart because they feel like we can't judge them. Like, how the fuck can I judge? That's what they think. So they come around and they spill all their tea to me. So he said he wanted to be more like a woman. He wanted to be free. And like I said, I understood what he was saying. I didn't think he was saying that he wanted to transition. I think what he's saying is that he's tired of trying to live up to these expectations that society places on men in order for men to be able to access this perceivable privilege. Because you're not accessing that privilege if you're not fitting into these archetypes for men. If you're not giving off this thug that'll split your wig, if you're not giving off the preacher, the politician who got the whole flock behind him, got the people behind him, or some type of prison warden or some type of captain, like there's certain archetypes that men have to fall into in order to be able to get that privilege that men get. You can't get male privilege if you goofy and dorky and you shy, and all of these attributes that we tend to try to associate with femininity, because the definition of being a woman 20, 30 years ago when you looked it up was words like feminine and docile and submissive. You know what I'm saying? So if men fall into any of those, then that male privilege kind of skips over them. They have to give you like that sergeant at arms type energy. They have to give you like either a thug or like a sergeant or like, bishop or pastor. They have to give you some type of shepherd herding his sheep, that type of energy. Come in and take up space and, and be making demands and stuff. if he's shy or if he's submissive or if he's a little timid, I think male privilege kind of passes men over. So if for any reason that you don't fit into this box that's associated with male privilege, you can forego your privilege. So don't have the audacity to be obviously more like your foremothers and have no closet you could hide in. And when you come in, your femininity is apparent and you can't hide it to save your life. I can remember when I was a child, when I was a little boy, when I was a little male, when I was little, young, before I embraced the path, I never had a closet to hide in. I never could deny who I was. Although I did struggle with my identity when I was 11. From about 11 to about 13, I struggled with my identity because my older cousin read Revelations to me in the Bible. And when she read Revelations to me, she told me I was going to hell for the way that I was. Now, mind you, I had never been penetrated. I had never sucked a dick. I had never, I had done some little sword fighting and things like that. Like I had done a little playing. I had been molested a couple of times as a child, one time by a male and a couple of times in different ways by females. But I had never had any type of penetrative sex. But my older cousin told me that I was going to hell. So for that year, from 11 till about 13, I struggled with my identity. I tried to deny who I was. But like I said, there was never a closet for me to hide in because I was always obviously feminine. So much so that I made closet gay men uncomfortable. There was this one closet gay man at school who used to dump me upside down in the trash can because I was so flamboyant that it made him uncomfortable. So, and today, this man lives with his husband and has been in a gay relationship for over 20 years. But when we were in school, this boy literally used to pick me up and dump me in the trash can because he knew I was a little girl. And it bothered him. It bothered him. I was messing with his privilege. I was messing with him. He had to show people how much he hated anything that was how much he hated femininity on a male. How embarrassed he was by femininity on a male and how distasteful it was to him. And so he humiliated me all the time at school by publicly embarrassing me as a means to distance himself from the behavior, when all the while behind the scenes, he was sucking dick, he was getting fucked, he was fucking niggas, he was doing all type of homosexual activity. And here me ain't never sucked the dick, ain't never got fucked, but you dumping me in the trash can and you already fucking these niggas. I ain't even done it yet. I ain't even had no penis yet. I ain't even been penetrated yet. And you dumping me in the trash can, but you already getting, like, later on down the line, a dude that I was messing with, that he was messing with before me, and I didn't know, he called me out, pretended like he wanted to be with me, lured me out the house, and beat me up because I was having his man and didn't even know it. I didn't even know that was your man. I didn't even know you did that type of stuff. Lured me out the house and jumped on me because I'm having a man that's yours that I didn't even know was your man. I'm getting jumped on for having your man. I didn't even know it was your man. How I'm supposed to know? You in the closet. So passing privilege, male privilege, passing privilege, all of these things, they come at a price. They come at a price. I've never been able to get passing privilege as a man. And I just think that white people, I think that a lot of white people, and I watched this in Power, how Tyreek uses his white friend to get away with certain things. And he's like, well, you're white and you're this. We may as well use you. But this is my problem with using white privilege and say, oh, okay, let me use my white friend for this. And let's be clear. I've used white people for their white privilege too. I've played this game. I've contributed to this. I am not innocent in what I'm getting ready to say. But yeah, I'm live, cousin. I'm live on YouTube. All right, love you. Yeah, but I'm guilty of seeking I'm guilty of using white people for their passing privilege too. But understand this. If we keep acknowledging that white people have privilege and we keep using them for their privilege, how does privilege no longer be how does it stop being a thing if we're consistently saying, oh, you got privilege, I'm going to use you for your privilege. Oh, let my white friend do it for me because we know you got privilege. Like, when does white privilege no longer become a thing if we keep enforcing it and keeping it relevant by using them for their privilege? Like that's something really to think about. The more I acknowledge that white people have privilege, the more I use them for their privilege, the more I use their privilege to benefit me. Am I really trying to create a society that does not have this kind of privilege if I continue to enforce it by saying, come on, baby, let me use your white privilege? like in a sense, I'm admitting that I think that you're better than me. In a sense, I'm saying you have something that I need and I need you. And like so what like when we peel back the layers on that, is that like me somehow saying that I agree with how society is? Like, am I condoning it by saying you have white privilege and I want to use your white privilege right now to benefit me in this situation? Like it will just be more convenient. It'll just be easier just to use your white privilege right now. Come on, I don't feel like going through all this. Come on, girl. Come on, Miss White Baby. Come on, I need your privilege right now. Come on, baby. Like, like the more we support that idea and the more we sow into that notion, the more relevant it remains. And this is one of the reasons why I live in Brooklyn in a predominantly Black community, because I try not to surround myself with Caucasian people so that I don't have to live in that reality. I know at the end of the day, the buck stops at Uncle Sam and Uncle Sam is white, but I don't deal with white people on a day-to-day basis. So I'm not tempted to use white people like that. I don't live in that world. I don't live in a world where when I walk outside my door, I'm talking to white people. Like, most of the people that I deal with on a day-to-day basis are people of color. They may not be Black. They may not be African American. A lot of them really are African American. And when I say African American, I mean they literally just came from Africa and they live in America. I mean, literally, they're African American, like they're real African Americans. Because let's be clear, once we get to a certain pay grade in America, once you have become wealthy in America, you are no longer Black or white. you are American. When you get that $1 million tax bracket, when you worth $10 million, when you worth that real change and you prospering and thriving in America, it's not even about race anymore, because you can use white people how you see fit. If you're a millionaire black person or a billionaire black person, you can send white representatives to show up for you and represent your brand, so you can use white people as pawns. So who really got the privilege? Who really got the power? If Jay-Z got a whole bunch of white boys working for him, but he's still the face, white people become pawns. A lot of white people are pawns because of their privilege, because you could take a well-dressed, polished white person and you could use them to do anything. They could go in almost any space except like really the hood. But any place in corporate America, you could send a straight-laced Caucasian person in there and it ain't gonna be no tea. White people literally can be homeless and go, and if they dress a certain way and they keep themselves up to a certain standard, they could go into fancy hotels and use bathrooms and change clothes and eat at the continental breakfast line, and like they literally can live as homeless people if you keep yourself up to a certain degree. Like if you go and you bathe and shower and change clothes every other day and keep yourself, groomed to a certain degree, you could really live from pillar to pole as a Caucasian person. But because white people have so much privilege, a lot of times there's a lot of addiction and a lot of drug abuse, because that privilege has a price and it's stressful trying to fit into that mold. When you come into spaces, always having to speak politically correct, always having to sound non-aggressive and non-harmful and non-threatening and compliant, always having to give this illusion of full compliance and being non-threatening and being the neighbor, giving that Mr. Rogers vibe. Like that's taxing. And that's why some of them children snap and they be around here going on killing sprees, because they snap. I'm tired of acting like Mr. Rogers. I'm tired of pretending to be this perfect white man who has all of this privilege. Fuck this. Like motherfucking, like what you call it did on Godfather when he started spraying everybody. Fuck. You are white adjacent until you get beside yourself. Like motherfucking OJ did. OJ was white adjacent and OJ got beside himself. OJ tried to create another lane, honey, and they said, "Oh, you're not satisfied with white adjacent. Oh, you're not satisfied with white adjacent. Oh, okay." Well, we got 3 meals and a rack for your back waiting for you upstate. Don't be late for your plate and your cellmate. Oh, you're not satisfied with white adjacent, huh? White adjacent is not good enough for you, huh? Baby, OJ got too big for his britches, honey. Nah, you got away with what you did. Then you all cut up down the line like you got beside yourself. Just like R. Kelly. You was white adjacent. You got beside yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got beside yourself. Like, you can't just continue to live in America and think that you're going to be in the limelight your whole life and be around here having multiple relationships with multiple little girls. You get beside yourself. You got beside yourself, R. Kelly. You got beside yourself. And baby, they don't like, and don't play with them dogs like what's his name did. Ooh, the football player. The football player that went to jail from fighting them dogs. You wasn't satisfied with your white adjacent status. And you got beside yourself. So, it's just for me, like, I'm starting to pay attention to, all of these privileges, and like Michael Vick, right? Michael Vick, child. Michael Vick went to jail for playing with the dogs. And white people, a lot of Caucasian people, they like dogs more than they like people. Now, I ain't gonna get me wrong. I do appreciate animals. And I think that some animals are more valuable than people. I'm going to be honest. I don't think some people is worth the sperm and the egg that it took to make them. I'm like, child, you is taking up space. What is you here for? But, with animals, you get consistent love and attention and affection. And, a lot of animals will lay down their life for you. They'll try to make you feel happy when you sad. They try to cheer you up. Some people just ain't worth two shits, But white people are very clear about that. They will champion white people and be like, fuck these niggers. To your face. But to me, it's not. I don't see this society as being as horrible as people try to make it out to be, because white people or Caucasian people who are racist are the founders of this nation, and there's never been any confusion about how they felt about us. Like, there's never been any since the conception of this nation. And most of them tolerate us because it's lucrative to, because we are major consumers, and because we are creatives, and we make this reality interesting and exciting. So not only are we major consumers, but we are major contributors to society. And so they see it as lucrative to align themselves with us. So it's more of tolerance, but I also feel it's the same way with us. I think a lot of us tolerate Caucasian people. I think a lot of us see an alliance with them as lucrative. I think a lot of our ancestors were tired of being sharecroppers, were tired of living off the land, tired of doing things the natural way, and we wanted to come and participate in this foolishness. And so we aligned ourselves with Caucasian people, because Caucasian people were driven and ambitious and hungry and simple-minded enough to go around killing people, simple-minded enough to go in and not mind being the scapegoat, not mind being the one that takes the blame for every wrong thing that's happened in the history of the nation. White people don't care how we look at them, as long as that they continue to live good and eat good and thrive. They don't care what we think of them. They depict themselves as they depict themselves as vampires, as blood suckers, as energy suckers. They depict themselves as zombies. They depict themselves as people who suck the life out of you, literally. They depict themselves in this way. And this is like the grandest that you could see in Caucasian world. When a Caucasian plays the role of a vampire, a bloodsucker, a life sucker, a parasite, that's grand. Anybody can play a vampire. But you can't be Bram Stoker's vampire and be some type of D-list actor. You can't just be breaking into the industry and think you're about to play the Count. Boo. You can't be no D-list actor and think you're about to play Santa Clara like motherfucker Drew Barrymore just did, honey. In order to play a high level vampire or a high level zombie, you have to be an A-list actor. So their whole the grandiose aspect of them is being parasites, is being bloodsuckers. They've never made any qualms about it. They're not fucked up about it. They're not fucked up about it at all. That's what we do. We suck the life out you bitches. Period. Down. We're here to drain you. We're here to suck you dry. We're not fucked up about it. Are you? They care to a degree. They want us blacks and POCs to revere them and hold them to high regards. Right. And the type of content that I watch with white people, I don't like to watch, like, I watch the type of content that I consume with white people. Like, I went through my phase where I watched white people depicting themselves as deities and gods, and and when I was watching that, often I would imagine myself in the roles that they gave to white people. Because when we see our stuff, black people is so, we want to keep ourselves in these roles where we playing slaves and maids, and we just have all these common roles. Like, I'm so sick of all these common roles. Like, I'm so sick of, black people got millions and billions of dollars in our community now, and we still playing common roles. And then we give, and this is no shade to Beyonce. This is no shade to Beyonce, but everybody gave Beyonce so much praise because she did, because of how she depicted herself and all of the African people that she used in her film. But let's be clear, I lived in Africa for 9 months. A lot of the reason why Beyonce is doing all that work in Africa is because it's cheaper labor. Your artists are cheaper. You ain't got to pay the same thing in Africa that you got to pay that you have to pay American artists. And this the pandemic. You couldn't go on tour like you used to could go on tour. You couldn't travel like you used to could travel and do all these tours and stuff because of the pandemic. So you said, if I'm going to do this production, I'm going to go over there to Africa and I'm going to use these Africans because this is going to be cheaper labor. I'm going to save me a coin. But girl, you a billionaire. You shouldn't need to save no coin. Like, you could have still used people in America. So, like, while I respect, her giving a narrative that used black people, that allowed us to be able to see deeply melanated models with negritude. Let's be clear, the African struggle is not the same as those of us who've been in America. It's not the same as those of us who have lived in America and what we have gone through in America. And this is why I say, when black people get to a certain status, they no longer see themselves as black. They see themselves as American. But then when it comes time to have black people out there protesting and rioting and risking their life for an agenda that they got cooked up behind the scenes, then all of a sudden, conveniently, they're black again. They're black when it's time to promote the next agenda. When they need to get something done, the black boule, when they need to get something done, they're black then. But any other time, when they're in the back rooms with them white people, they're American as apple pie. They're American as apple pie. So, I just feel like they want us to, like white people want us to, like, put them on a pedestal. But this is the thing. I see too much of the real life when it comes to Caucasian people. Like, Caucasian, what you see on TV, and Caucasian, what you see in real life, we know it's two different things. And there are a couple of shows like Shameless was really, really, really a good look inside the everyday white family. And I don't know if you've seen F is for Family. It's a cartoon series about this white family. That's a really, 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 like, I live for series like that because to me, it reminds me more of how Caucasians actually are. Like how a lot of, not all Caucasians try to give you this Dear John, I'm a good guy, I'm swell. They try to give you that persona, but behind the scenes, it be cussing and fighting and fucking and arguing and drugs and drama. It be all of the above. And I love Caucasian families on television that give you an accurate picture of what the TB many of times. Like a lot of times why white people or Caucasian people might treat black people so fucked up is because fucked up was a norm in their childhood. Like they went through a lot of fucked up situations and it was normal for so many reasons. Maybe because they were inbred, maybe because of molestation, maybe because the patriarch was an alcoholic and a racist and a sexist pig and a chauvinist. It was so many things that was probably wrong inside that household, but they learned how to perform professionalism when navigating society. They learned how to put on a face. And if anything Caucasians are good about is wearing a mask. Ask the KKK. If it's one thing that Caucasians know how to do, not all of them, but some of them, if it's one thing Caucasians know how to do, is mask up. Or you better mask up, baby. When they go to the private sex parties, they put that mask on. When they go to the Klan rallies, they put that mask on. Honey, oh, they know how to put a mask on. Oh, baby, they know how to put on a face for you, a different face for you, baby. And, you know, we can act like and we can act like we don't know how they are. Baby, stuff will be falling apart behind the scenes. Everything will be falling apart. Shit will be a sheer mess. Caucasian people know how to do this. Everything falling apart. They just got the worst news of their life. Hi. Absolutely. Oh, yes. All the while, their brain is throbbing and they really honestly just want to snap. And some of them do. Some of them do. And then that's when you get these mass murderers because they get tired of putting on that Mr. Rogers face. They get tired of pretending like everything is fine when it's not. And that Bible got them all messed up. Oh my goodness. I think the Bible has done more harm to white people than it's done to black people because white people be really believing it. Like white people, like Caucasian people believe that Bible. Black people just be like, yeah, Jesus. Jesus is good. You gonna give me a bigger check, huh? I believe in Jesus. Add another zero to that check. Black people be like that. Yeah, Jesus. Father God, King Jesus. They'll put on the cross and everything. Black people be bullshitting. They don't really be believing in that shit. A lot of black people don't believe in Christianity. They see it as an opportunity to come up. They know if they say that King Jesus shit around white people gonna be like, oh, so you say you're a good God-fearing man, huh? So you believe in the Lord King Jesus with all your heart, don't you? Oh, great. Then you believe in Jesus. Oh, well, come on in. And black people be like this. Yes, I believe in the Father. Only one way to get to Jesus, but through the Father. Black people be like, that's right, Jesus. Black people don't be believing this. That's how a lot of black people. I'm telling you, I see this. I see it in Africa and America. But white people, they believe in that Jesus stuff. They be, and Father God King Jesus, and he saved my soul. Get that tax-free money. That's how the churches be. That's how all of them be. But understand that that's not how it started out. That's not how it was at first. When our people first started becoming a part of this, I do believe that there were, the white man standing outside. He was standing outside with the gun, and he was telling the preachers what they could preach about and what they could preach about. I do believe at one time, certain preachers were forced to preach about certain things and to preach about things in a certain way. But we have to understand that one of the most horrible things that have happened to us as deeply melanated people, and how they robbed us and how they enslaved us, was by enslaving our mind. How they enslaved our mind was they corrupted our spirituality, and they taught us to only worship one aspect of our being. They taught us to shun natural parts of life. In the Bible, it teaches us all things are working together for the good. Not some, not a little bit. All things are working together for the good of those of us who love the Lord, those of us who love our Creator, those of us who love our Mother, Father, God, Goddess, the divine. All things are working together for the good. So if all things are working together for the good, then that means that even when fuck shit happen, there is some good in that. But we've been taught to demonize natural parts of learning, natural parts of growth, we don't know how to deal with chaos. We don't know how to deal with dysfunction. We don't know how to deal with challenge and adversity because we've been taught that everything is supposed to be. The Disney Channel was telling us that love was supposed to be perfect and happy, and love is not supposed to make you cry. That's a lie. Love will kick you in your ass, punch you in your face, and drag you down the street. Love come in all shape, forms, and fashion. When you love your child, don't you whoop your child ass sometimes? When you love somebody and they hurt you, ain't you gonna cuss them out and let them know that you've been hurt? Sometimes the person that you love the most, you gonna wear them out. Disney lied. Love is complicated. The Bible said love is this and love is that, and love is like the Bible tells you love it. Love is war. If you love something, you're gonna go to war for it. Helen Troy face launched 1,000 ships. Romeo and Juliet was warring houses. Cleopatra and Mark Antony. Love is war. When you love something, you will undoubtedly go to war for it. That's how you test the depth of the love. When you love something, you will to die for it. You're going to fight for it. You're going to do whatever you got to do for it. Love is war. They're the same thing. They're two sides of the same coin. Peace and war. When you love something, it brings you peace. When someone fuck with what you love, it's war. They two sides of the same coin. Love has two faces. Peace and war. Period. So our spirituality has been corrupted because when you say justice, when we talk about justice, how can we have justice in a nation that only honors the father, that only honors the patriarch? In order to have justice, justice must be served by a whole, by something whole. Justice must come from the mother and the father. Justice must come from the masculine and the feminine. Justice must come from the male and the female. Justice must come from light and dark. Justice must come from the bitter and the sweet. Justice can't just come one way. Justice is on a scale, and if you ain't got both arms of the scale, then the scale is broken. So they corrupted our spirituality. That's how they fucked us. We all off balance. We live in a society where being imbalanced is normal. We've been corrupted. We don't like, and I say this all the time. As a child, I was running from part of myself, and I was running from this dark, wicked, evil-looking entity. And it took me 30 years of running from that to find out that what I was running from was also me. I'm not just the light, I'm the darkness. I'm not just order, I'm chaos. I'm not just sweet, I'm bitter. I'm not the neighbor that's going to always have a cup of sugar. Period. I'm not the neighbor that's going to always have a cup of sugar for you. Sometimes it's going to be some vinegar. Sometimes I got a big old tall glass of vinegar for that ass. Period. Oh, okay, Patrina, love is our grace. Love is our downfall. Right. Love is everything, Kay. It's everything. It's everything. I understand this completely. It's everything. So our spirituality has been corrupted. We are afraid of that, and that's how the game is played. This is how the 1% maintain power. And let's be clear, the 1% are using these constructs, these passing constructs, passing as a woman, passing as a man, passing as black, passing on white privilege. All of these different constructs, the 1% are sending agents to keep control of the many. You ever wonder how a shepherd can guide hundreds of sheep, one shepherd and one dog? One shepherd and one dog guiding hundreds of sheep. It's these constructs. The passing, they send agents, and the agent can look just like you. It's not black against white. It's not man against woman. It's not gay against straight. It's not trans against cis. It's rich against poor. It's the upper crust against the lower crust. Period. And when you broke, you ain't got time to really dig into that. But see, I'm a different kind of broke. I'm a broke person that think. And I'm not so infatuated with money that I don't have a conscience. I'm not so infatuated with material things. And every time I think I'm about to lose my way, the ancestors send something to pull me back in check. And just recently, y'all saw it. I just posted the video a couple of days ago. Our baby died. And I might get a little emotional. I'm going to try to hold back the tears because I don't want to cry. You know, I've been drinking, so I could, get a little emotional. But Lorraine, the dog that y'all saw in the video that we buried, was a third generation. Lorraine's grandmother, and I do the genealogy in the video. Lorraine's grandmother is still with my daughter. So Lorraine's grandmother is Sierra and Polo, which is Prince Lawrence. That's what Polo meant. So it was Sierra and Prince Lawrence. Then they had Solomon, which was Lorraine's daddy. Solomon got with Giselle, and that's how Lorraine came. So we had these animals in our family for over 10 years, breeding them. And Lorraine recently passed away. And when Lorraine died, it was a wake-up call for me. I'm not going to go into the details of everything that was going on behind the scenes because I ain't trying to make it look like I'm being messy or dragging for nobody because I'm not, because I don't want to dishonor Lorraine's memory like that. But I was in a place where I was accepting so many material gifts and I feel like nothing should make me lose sight of this work that I've been called to do. And this work that I've been called to do is to continue to lay the foundation and to help with the foundation because I'm not the only one doing this work. Other people are doing this work. They just name it differently. But I'm speaking to my tribe. I'm speaking to the people who I can relate to. And I'm setting up a precedence that is not rooted in patriarchy and that is not rooted in white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? And that is not even rooted in a binary. Okay, so this is work that I'm doing that indigenous, aborigines, people with negritude and people without negritude can relate to. But it's not rooted in patriarchy. It's not rooted in white supremacy. It's not rooted in any of those things. And that's probably why I don't get a lot of money. That's probably why I don't have, and I'm not tripping because I don't get a lot of money. Sometimes I wish I had this coin and sometimes I wish I didn't have that coin. But I'm thankful that I don't have money all the time because it keeps me fucking honest. When it's my season to ball and to really make that paper, then hopefully I'll be responsible with the money. Hopefully I won't be using it on things that's going to kill me quicker. Hopefully I'll be using it on things that can help to build a nation to leave behind me as my legacy. So, I'm not tripping on being broke right now. I'm not tripping on not having all the money in the world right now. I want to be able to record my music. That's why I ask for donations sometimes so that I could go in the studio and make music. But other than that, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'm not missing no meals. I'm not missing no meals around this camp. I ain't missing no meals. Lights on, I ain't cold. Okay. Yeah, I'm not suffering or struggling around here, so I don't really complain. Yeah, girl, I'm gonna set that here for you, girl. So my Cash App is the lay lim lay lur. That's the let him let her. So I'm gonna set that right there. But yeah, that's my Cash App. The lay lim lay lur. You're gonna see Tila Love, and I got on a I got on a green top. It's a green dress with a gold bottom, and I got like a feather crown on top of my head. And I took that picture while I was in Africa. Let me show you the dress. So I got this dress made while I was in Africa. And I love this dress. I got this dress made for me while I was in Africa. I love it. Like I picked out the fabric. I picked out, it's got the lace right here on it. It's got lace around the collar. It's got the lace around the collar. This old lady made it for me. And I picked it out. I love this dress. But yeah, so I'm in a good place, and I just want to continue to do, this work of just having the conversations, and eventually I want to move back into a religious space. I want to go back into some form of church, like a temple, but I don't want it to be like the church that we've known. Like I want it to be a place that creates the space for us to be whole. We can have our truly spiritual times where we just, worshiping and praying to Mother Father, where we just worshiping and praying to Mother Father. And then we'll have those times where we just, you know what I'm saying? Where we just cutting up, where we just drinking and doing talent shows and performing and doing art. So I got a song that I'm working on. I think I'm gonna let y'all hear. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna let y'all hear this song that I'm working on. Hold on, let me see if I got it. I'm gonna play this a song that I'm working on. So y'all go get a sneak peek. I'm still working on it. I'm excited about it. I want to go in the studio. Hold on. I want to go in the studio and do this song. I'm excited. Yes, I will play. I will do some new music. I will do it. Like, I will let y'all hear it. Y'all gonna get a sneak peek. It's a little gospel-y. Because I'm feeling like I want to do gospel music that acknowledges the mother and the father. So, I do have some sexy music that I've been working on, but I'm not really just on that level, like to bring that, like that's not where I'm at right now. Like I do have some sexy music that I've been working on, but when I go in the studio at the beginning of the year, I want my first project, I want my first project when I come out at the beginning of the year for my spiritual foundation. I want my first project to be I want my first project to be spiritual. I like that's how I lay the foundation. Then around Valentine's Day, I'll probably release the sexy shit, because then it's Valentine's Day. But this is the song that I've been working on. The beat, Dr. Lucy sent it to me, and it's a gospel beat, and I really, really like it. I'm still working on it, so y'all be patient with me, but I'm finna let y'all hear a little bit of it. Make me whole. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father. You made me whole. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father. You healed my soul. You made me whole. You made me whole. You made me whole. You made me whole. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father. You made me whole. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father. You healed my soul. You made me whole. You made me whole. You made me whole. You made me whole. I just want to give thanks in this season. I just want to acknowledge the reason I live. For she lives, for he lives in me. I just want to give thanks in this season. I just want to acknowledge the reason I live. Yes, she lives. Yes, he lives in me like a Trinity. You made me whole. You made me whole. You made me whole. I am A. I am C. I live on eternally. You make me whole. You make me whole. You heal my soul. You made me whole. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father. You made me whole. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father. You healed my soul. You made me whole. You make me whole. I'm so glad I'm whole. So glad I'm whole. So glad. So glad I'm home. Yeah. So I'm still working on it. Still working on some of the bugs. I got like a whole little verse that I didn't put in because I didn't trust it. But that's the part I got right now. Like this. That's the part. Like it's gonna have more layers. It's gonna have a whole bunch of other stuff going on. But that was just like the foundation of it. So yeah, I'm excited. Like I really like the song. I really like this song. I really like this song. Like I'm really excited about it. Um and I hear like a whole bunch of you like it so far. That's good. That's good. Thank you. That means a lot to me though. For good. So yeah. So oh, thank you, Dee. Yeah. So yeah. I really like. I was working on some sexy stuff that I had did, but then I heard this and I was like, yes. And then this beat right here actually fit the other song that I said I wanted to do. Um, there's a I did a song called a song. I don't know if y'all remember that song. We are soldiers in the army, we have to fight. I know we got to fight. We got to hold of the bloodstained banner. We got to hold it up until we die. So, like I've been working on a remix of that. I've been working on a remix of that, and so instead of saying like I'm a change. Thank you, Sanaya. Thank you, Parina. So, I think I'm working on a different version of that song. And I want to release both of those songs next time I go in the studio. So yeah, y'all, this wine is starting to kick in. I sang I sang that song in church. Right. Like that song should be in church. Like these songs should be in church. Like, so yeah, this is gonna be my spiritual songs for the new year. But yeah, I think we didn't gave enough energy to this topic. White privilege, passing privilege, and male privilege. This is going to be a series, so I'm going to continue to talk about um this concept because I think we should really just, keep revisiting privilege and the ideas around privilege. I want to thank y'all so much for joining me for this live. We really, really had some good talking. Y'all got so much good feedback from y'all. I just really enjoyed this topic. I want to light this candle to acknowledge our ancestors. So we're going to light this candle to acknowledge the ancestors who have transitioned today. And I do this every day. When I leave out of my house, I light candles. I literally light 3 candles on my altar in the kitchen. I have a candle that represents the past. I have a candle that represents the present, and I have a candle that represents the future. When I light my candles on my altar in the other area of my apartment. But when I do it for this video, I just light 1 candle, and this 1 candle is acknowledging all 3. And this represents the Trinity, how I see it. And the Trinity represents past, present, and future. So, our ancestors aren't dead because we are our ancestors reincarnated. At least that is the belief of Laylim Layler. That's my practice. That I am my ancestors reincarnated, but I'm a little bit different than they were because I'm not experiencing life in the exact same way they were. So I'm my ancestors with a little extra or a little something different. And so, many of us are our ancestors reincarnated, but just a little different. So I light this candle to acknowledge who we were, who we are, and what we will become. A man and woman. So as this candle is blown out on the physical plane, it grows with intensity and strength on the spiritual plane. I was, at the beginning of this live, because I was processing this subject and I wanted to wait longer to talk about it. But I didn't want to wait so long to talk about it that I didn't talk about it, that I just been like, oh, okay, just I'm gonna shelf this topic. So, I kind of pushed myself to talk about it. So when you're watching the playback at the beginning of the live, there was a moment where I was like, child, I'm about to cut this off. But y'all came on and, the topic started to take form and it started to take shape and there was feedback. And I just want to say thank you because I couldn't have got through this topic without you. So thank you for coming on here, loving me and giving me feedback and being my springboard, being my soundboard for me to be able to, dive into this topic because we need to have these conversations so that the next generation can have this information. And hopefully they won't use it just to advance in the game, but to really just, tear down this game and to create something that is actually welcoming and celebratory for people from all walks of life, from all classes. You don't have to be a certain pedigree in order to be celebrated and in order to be loved. You don't have to be of a certain caliber in white supremacist eyes in order to be valuable. A man, a woman. I'm gonna say that again. You don't have to be of a certain value, of a certain caliber. You don't have to look a certain way or act a certain way. Just be decent. Have respect for life. Have respect for your environment. Have respect for life. Have respect for your environment. Have respect for your community. Respect for your family. Respect for people even if they don't look like you. Amen, a woman. Down but down that I say cool, it keeps spinning and turning. Ian Gani, Iyanko Kalukalo, which means I am a child of God Goddess. And if I am, you know you are. As this candle diminishes on the physical plane, it grows with a fire and intensity on the spiritual plane, guiding our ancestors to the next part of the journey so that they can dip, which means to dwell in a powerful purpose. Amen, a woman. I love y'all. Good night. It was a little deal so vibe, my girl.